Hey everyone, welcome to Hoboken Art Talks. We're here in the upper gallery on Friday night, January 24th at 7 o'clock, and we have a great interview tonight. We'll be talking with Tim Daly, notable artist of Hoboken. You're looking at the announcement card. Tim's work is going to be in the upper gallery. It will open on Sunday. Everyone's invited, 2 to 5. And it'll run till March 9th. We have not seen here an exhibit of Tim Daly since 2001.
Actually, I had a show here called Important Clouds Up Here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I take it all back.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not sure what year.
right.
At least 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
Maybe longer.
Anyway, here is Tim. And
back again.
I stand corrected. This is your third exhibit in the museum.
Yep,
Is that right?
that's right.
Okay,
I'm
good.
a lifetime member, too.
Oh,
Okay, so-
that's right. He's a lifer. That's a special category we have here in the museum. The way it worked is we were really trying to generate income, so I think we had that category. It might have been $125, maybe. Yeah, right?
Something like
so
that,
for
yeah.
life. And so we ended that type of membership,
Okay.
actually. But, lifers do continue.
That we sure
Yeah,
do.
you do. You live for a long time.
I feel guilty. We should send you a...
That is true.
We should re-up,
No, we always talk that we should do a renewal of
Yeah.
lifetime members.
Yeah.
So thank
Well,
you.
so much time has passed, I would be happy to.
Okay,
So,
thank you for reminding me. Okay, so you are definitely someone I think of as one of the premier artists of this region, Hudson
you.
County. Would you agree? You hate to
well,
toot
I've
your
been-
own horn.
I've been here quite a while. A lot of people know me. But yeah, I mean, it's very local, Jersey City. I grew up in Jersey City, up on the hill, not far from here, and kind of grew where I was planted.
Okay,
you know.
I forgot you were raised in Hudson County.
Oh, yeah.
Born and raised in Hudson County.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We had a little
cool.
summer house in Butler, New Jersey, which was
Butler.
a godsend.
23 North and
That's right.
yeah, I know
That's right.
Butler. Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I associate you mainly with landscape painting. Is that true?
Primarily, yeah. The reason that there are so many drawings here, too, is that, when I moved here in 77, I grew up in the city. I was familiar with the city, but, Hoboken was pretty different because of the very large Puerto Rican population here. And, we didn't really, language is a barrier. If people spoke Spanglish, sometimes there was enough, but, it wasn't, you need proximity to become really friendly with people. People knew me. There were guys hanging out at near Mighty Fine, where I had a studio for 9 years. We got to know each other, and but bring a six-pack once in a while.
Sure.
But there's a lot more life on the streets. Maybe I'm wrong, but in general, I think the Puerto Rican population here, a lot of them were low-wage workers, and they had large families in the same apartments that people like me moved in. A single person in a 1,000-square-foot apartment. That was a godsend. But it was very different for those people and working class people in general. I'm sure the Italians and the Irish
Sure.
are still here.
Right.
Families in an apartment, and it could get pretty crowded. So there was always stuff happening on the streets. People hanging out,
Right.
like we did in Jersey City. That's where
Sure.
we did our hanging out.
Right.
So
Right. So I'm going to go back to this picture. This to me is like classic Tim Daly.
okay, yeah, it is.
And we're kind of looking west.
Yes.
And many of your images are looking west. You get those classic railroad bridges.
Oh, sure.
And the gas tanks, and you're looking towards Newark in a way.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's Jenny Lee. This is a great conversation. Thanks,
Jenny.
Jenny. Yeah, I'm glad you signed on. And I guess David's watching too. And so Holly and I often comment if we're driving west late in the day, we go, it's a Tim Daly sky.
You're so right.
Yeah, definitely. You own it. You own it.
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's cool. And then would this have been a large canvas?
Yeah, this is pretty big. It's 6 feet wide.
Wow.
So pretty good size.
Right.
And your vantage point here is you're on the west side of Kennedy Boulevard, but right where 1 and 9, you could peel off for Route 1 and 9.
I can hear the traffic.
Yeah.
Right, right. and going, oh, I wanted to go on the other side. Well, what do I
That's right.
do?
And that one is Skyway.
Yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
exactly.
You
And
know, all of this stuff is gone. Those tanks, the gas tanks, which were expandable,
right,
and there were
sure.
4 or 5 of them. And over the course of the last 40 years, how can I say that? They're gone.
Right.
Most of what you see is gone, except for the bridges.
They're just going to be replaced now.
Wow. Are they going to keep them? That's the question.
I think
know.
they are. I think they have to, actually.
I'd like
And
to
they're-
see a wet pen bridge
Yeah,
park.
exactly.
you know?
Well, yeah, park on the bridge.
Well,
that would be cool.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. What medium would you have worked on for this?
Acrylic on canvas.
Acrylic and yeah. Oh, this is Ray Guzman. All right. Hello from Sissy and Ray. Good
guys.
show.
How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. The other premier painter in Hoboken.
That's right.
And Miss Terry. Hi,
Hey,
Tim. Wonderful.
You too. Right back at you, Terry.
All right. And you said you didn't tell anyone. So
No.
Okay, but that's
No.
good responses. Good responses. And so would you have sketched it all on location or primarily working from a photograph or
Yeah, they're from photographs.
Right.
But this is a place that I was at, over the years so many times. So yeah, I would wind up starting a painting this big. I'd really need to visit the site a few times just to do some drawings and get information that wasn't really in the photographs that I had.
right?
And most often, the skies might be from a different day. That sort of thing. I would mix things
Gotcha.
up to keep it
Sure,
interesting
sure.
for myself.
And that Thaler, hi Tim, looking
Hey.
forward to seeing the sketches. All right, Thaler, a museum trustee,
I
tuning
see.
in. Yes, yes. And I got distracted by all the responses there.
Okay.
So where does this painting reside now?
This is in Rehoboth Beach with Steve Fallon.
Okay.
I had a show at Maxwell's, I think, in 1984, and so he bought this painting, and it went over the jukebox in Maxwell's for years, which was perfect for me.
Gotcha.
Paid for very few drinks, and
Okay.
chat people ever hang around in front of my painting.
You're just kind of like, yeah,
Oh, it's me.
come see my etchings, right? And
no,
so
not really.
I'm guessing that. This picture looks a little hazy. Would that be smoke from Maxwell's, or
Well, by the time, when Steve was leaving with the painting, I took it back to clean it because there was so much nicotine on it. It's
Right.
It's like, boy, what about my lungs?
right? The good old days.
So I did the best I could, but
Right. No, it looks good. I was teasing, but I just had this image of everyone hanging out.
well, that's exactly right.
Right,
Yeah, smoking like chimneys.
Yes.
It's unbelievable to me now. I mean, it's so rare now that you see anybody with a lit cigarette. And,
Right.
I was a smoker for decades.
Right.
So
Sure.
things change.
Right. Different type of smoking going on.
Well,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
That's for sure. And here's Kate Valenta. Love this. Bob
Hey.
and Tim. Long live the Pulaski Skyway.
That's right.
One of the most dangerous roads in America.
They tried to replace it with a new bridge, and they just couldn't even do that.
No, it's so narrow. It's scary.
Yeah.
You have a little alignment problem with your wheels.
Yeah. I'm just glad they banned trucks,
I didn't even know that.
Well, when it was first built.
Oh, right.
Because it was built really to avoid the hours-long journey through the swamps. The
Right.
roads were bad. So,
Sure.
But, it became apparent within the first couple of weeks, I've read, that, trucks were, it was too high and too windy, and it wasn't safe.
But now everyone has an SUV, so
That's
it's
right.
probably not that much better.
Tiny trucks.
So, okay, so we're gonna, okay, so you give me a kind of a year when you kind of land in Hoboken from
I-
up the hill or the city.
I'll
or,
give you a date, July of 77.
Okay.
It was the summer of Son of Sam,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a blackout in New York, too, which was fascinating. 'cause
That's
I-
right.
I was on the 5th floor. I had well, I should tell you about the apartment.
Please.
My friends Mark and Scott had.
Where
had-
is this apartment? In
This is
Hoboken?
1110 Park Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, where we wound up until 2005.
Right.
My friend's sister was looking for an apartment in Hoboken. She called me up one day and said, I saw this place. It's really pretty nice, but it's way too big for me. I said, tell me more. 5th floor. I said, okay.
Oh.
With a view of the Empire State Building right out the front window.
Right.
So I was there in about 20 minutes. And so that was, I moved into that apartment then. And boy, time flew by. But, I was living at home at that point in Jersey City, my childhood home,
Right.
our apartment. And, I was just briefly looking in the Village Voice for apartments in Manhattan. And then I heard about Hoboken. Hoboken was practically free. So
So do you remember your rent?
To start, it was $100 a month.
Right. Right. So-
Incredible. And these were $1977.
right.
So-
but still,
but still,
100
yeah.
sounds pretty cheap.
Well, it was. It
Right.
was.
And that,
You know.
I remember your apartment. It was kind of went back a ways.
Oh, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 5 rooms. It's 1,000 square feet. And,
Right. Nice light in the front. That was
Yeah.
kind of your studio, probably. Or?
Well, that was too nice for me to glom on to completely.
Okay.
Although when I lived there by myself, yeah, anywhere and everywhere.
Sure.
But once Sheila moved in,
Right. Right.
you know.
All right, David got on.
Hey, okay.
Yep, Dave's here too. Remember Well Jenny's show, Stories in Steel, around the time of one of Tim's early shows. Maybe time for another.
Yeah, time sure
What a
flies.
plug! What a plug! We'll get back to you on that. No, but Dave, that's great. You're signing on. And he's a big, those two are a big fan of yours.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, for
Oh, yeah,
sure.
we're good friends.
Excellent, excellent. So we do have a lot of slides to look at, so maybe we'll start going through them.
Okay.
And what do we got coming up? So I would not recognize this as your work.
Oh, I know.
One, because it's not a landscape.
Right.
And, but tell us.
Yeah, well, very early painting, probably, let's see, I dropped out of art school in 74. So 75, 76, around there. It was one of my first finished paintings,
Right.
trying to figure out how to do it. So you can see I kind of left out half their faces. A deep shadow, though.
But film noir, yeah, definitely.
That's
right. And who are these people?
Oh, my mom and dad.
Okay, cool.
Working class people, grew up in Jersey City. My dad was a truck driver, owned a gas station for a long time. He's an auto mechanic, too.
Wow.
And spent years in Iceland as an aircraft mechanic in World War II.
Okay.
So,
And they're kind of formal here. Was it an occasion?
yeah,
or-
they were on their way out to some fancy dinner and, taking a photo.
Sure.
And that's what I had to work from.
Gotcha.
So, but like I said, trying to figure out how to paint.
Right.
And,
But it seems like you're just as interested in the paint in the background, in the picture,
Sure.
and on the upholstery.
well, that is one of my paintings in the background. It was
Okay.
a drawing, so to give myself a plug.
Sure, sure. And,
But it was fun.
a lot of parents are like they're supportive of their kids in the arts, but then they always say, how are you going to make a living? And what's plan B? Did you go through that scenario?
Not so much, because I was always drawing. They knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I was going straight from high school, Hudson Catholic, to School of Visual Arts. So, so the only question was, how do we pay for this?
Right.
And they did pay some. Mostly it was loans.
Sure.
So,
And you mentioned you didn't complete. Did you
Right.
leave for particular reasons?
well, in 1971, 1973, the 70s. All through the 20th century, there had been this march of the isms, as I call it. One thing every 10 years there was something new. Surrealism, all very interesting in the canon. But my painting teacher at School of Visual Arts said, "Painting's finished. Get a video camera. Painting's dead."
Okay.
And that was good advice 5 years previous. That would have been a good time to get a video camera and do your thing.
If it's your medium,
well,
yeah.
not if I ever wanted to. But,
Right.
Lots of people did.
Sure.
But painting came back. Realist painting came back big time, and the art world evolved into this place where everything was fine. Everything was marketable. So now just the variety of different types of artwork out there is just kind
So
of
you're
incredible.
saying you're kind of discouraged by teachers being
Well,
down on the medium?
They
or-
were not going to be teaching me the skills I needed to know. I
Okay.
wanted to paint. I wanted to do realist paintings.
Sure.
So it's okay up to a point, but I had my two favorite teachers. One was an illustration teacher, a guy named Gil Stone, who died young, but he was a prolific illustrator and painted in acrylics, and that's where I learned how to paint with acrylics.
Right.
I painted in oils too. Never liked the smells that are associated, and also the chemistry involved in oil painting, very different from acrylics. So it can be kind of unpredictable. Anyway,
Right.
so that was the reason I kept painting
Got it.
Painting has been dead forever. Yeah, she knows. Not so fast. Or is that a corpse wandering around? It
Right,
might
right.
be.
No, but I was sort of getting the impression like your teachers who are teaching painting
Yeah.
are sort of being down about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of,
Well, I know.
yeah, preaching to the wrong choir.
Right.
You
Well, it's
know,
like, our faculty, all professionals in the arts. It's like, okay, because he's still. This
Right.
guy gave up, I guess.
So do something
Yeah.
else, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't taint the next pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems like he's trying to get rid of the competition or something. Anyway, okay. So early painting of your dad.
Yeah.
And would this have been up in Jersey City?
Yeah,
or-
this is our apartment.
right. What
I
street
grew up-
did you live
Webster
on?
Avenue.
Oh,
145 Webster. Between
Okay.
Hutton and Griffith.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I know
So-
that street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jersey City at that time was, was very mixed up. There were Puerto Rican families, there were Cuban families, there were a couple of black people, not very many.
Sure, sure.
But, I smoked pot for the first time around the corner from my house with,
Okay.
we were about 15 or so. So,
Uh-huh.
You could be bad there if you wanted to. I
And
guess.
there's John Ozed. Hello,
Hey.
Tim.
Hey, John.
Nice image. I don't know who John is, but
Oh, you know John.
I do.
Yeah.
I know the smile,
Yeah.
but yeah. And okay, so we'll go on to some more paintings.
This is my brother Tom, and this is also a very early painting. This is in oils, and I wanted to
Uh huh.
try to learn how to use
Gotcha.
them.
Sure.
And never quite finished. You can see the water sprite behind him,
Mm-hmm.
who represents every girl that he and I ever knew. Floating behind, and just kind of the just emblematic
Right.
of what's
And
to
your
come.
brother was older?
No, we're fraternal twins.
remember.
And,
He's
he died.
deceased?
He died at 39.
Okay, wow.
He had
right.
some heart problems.
Gotcha.
but,
Gotcha.
So
I knew you then. I remember when it happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
definitely.
was shocking. Heart
Yeah.
attack. And,
No,
and,
of course. Wow.
quickly gone. So boy,
So that's when you see that painting, a whole other set of
sure.
memories.
It's like
yeah.
where are you now?
Exactly. And fraternal twins, so that's,
Yeah.
pretty intense
Yeah.
connection. Okay. And Jenny Lee, oh wait, I didn't finish. Long live paintings, and Tim's paintings are timeless.
Oh shucks.
Wow.
Thanks.
What a suck up. No, just kidding, just kidding.
The Mutual Admiration Society.
That's
there,
right. I guess we have to interview Jenny Lee one of these
That's right.
days.
That's right.
Right,
About my
David?
work.
Yeah, about your work. Actually, Jenny could have interviewed you.
That's
Anyway, sure. Wow.
So I got lucky.
Yeah.
I met Sheila, and here she is, my pretty wife, my pretty young wife, as I still call her.
Yes.
And there we are in some photo booth somewhere.
Her look is so classic.
Oh yeah,
Like she hears like bells or
Yeah.
music.
yeah.
And you have your classic stoic look.
That's why I do have a little smile there. But
It's not a smile.
it's not. Is it a grimace?
I don't know, but
Well, I'm
no.
happy to be there.
Okay,
Anyway.
you are.
So,
you
yeah.
are. Yes.
Yeah.
Photo booths are fun because you just have to get close,
Oh,
right?
exactly, yeah.
It's like a roller coaster.
Well, that's why
or
I look like
something.
that, because Sheila was all settled there. And,
Yeah.
looking at the camera, she's all set and had to
Definitely.
jam in at the last second.
Yes,
you know?
yes. Cool, cool. Okay.
So I'm not sure when. And this is,
So this is kind of the street scenes that you were talking about?
yeah, this is Willow Avenue. El Carre is, let's see.
I can see it.
Yeah, I think it's about 7th or 8th Street.
Didn't it become Orange Kitchen?
Oh, it did, yeah. It's been a few things. But I was never in it when it was a nightclub.
Right.
There were a few. And that's the other thing about Hoboken, too, is that there were Puerto Rican bars, and then there were the regular, well, we call them old man's bars, but everybody
Right.
drank
Oh, those
there.
little beers, the 25-cent beers.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's like, this is insane. I'm going to go to a place that has mugs, for God's sake.
That's right. How many of these do I need to get drunk on? Yeah. I'm going to have to spend $2.
So that's another reason why, people didn't mix it up that much.
Right, right. Do you remember like what's going on in this shot? Because
It was
there's,
some kind of a festival. They had closed off a few blocks.
it
of
looks that
Willow.
way. Yeah.
And, the idea of closing off Willow Avenue now, because it's so busy.
Ambulances and yeah.
Yeah, that's the
I'd
main
love
road.
them to close off Willow Ave.
I
Yeah.
bet you would.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
But
Right.
some of these guys I knew. The guy in the black pants with the hat, He worked at there's I can't think of the name of it now, a spice company or a spice packaging company down right next to the 100 Steps.
I know,
Southwest
yeah,
corner.
sure.
And, this poor guy, he probably couldn't lose the smell of these spices. And,
Right.
Yeah.
I would go
Pretty-
down
pretty
there
strong.
for just, looking for unusual things in
Oh, sure.
Hoboken, and you would see these like big mounds of spice that had like spilled out of the truck when they were unloading or something, and it was like hot peppers, a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. But
Yeah.
you'd be sneezing,
Oh, yeah.
all around there. So, and that was here pretty late, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, later than you think.
Yeah.
But I'm sure.
And I guess that building is occupied still. I don't know what is there now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's probably a new tall building, but whatever.
Yeah, actually,
could be.
that's still there. I think it's such a narrow space, it's going to be tough to build there.
They'll figure it out.
Oh, yes, all it takes is money.
Anyway,
Barnett Spice, okay.
there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Wow. Who knew that? Was that Ray?
Yeah,
Wow. Maybe Ray worked there. Okay. So
maybe he's an old timer.
that's right. That's right. From the Bronx.
That's right,
That's
that's right. So,
Okay. And so these are pictures you took,
Yeah,
and you're where are we?
we are, let's see, I was in the Mighty Fine building for years, and this
Okay.
there was an auto repair place on the corner. And a couple of these guys I probably owned it too, worked there. But they were, regular kind of gathering here. This is where people would hang out.
Right.
So this is where I kind of met them. They let me take pictures, but then I, buy a six-pack occasionally, so I was always welcome.
Gotcha.
And,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I always
There
wondered
there
who-
was a lot of hanging out in Hoboken,
Yeah.
70s, early 80s.
Yes,
you
yeah, it's
know.
really, it's
And-
so changed. I think that kids that grew up in the suburbs didn't know how to hang out on the street. We city kids, we could still manage it.
Right. There's the whole, I lettered their trucks. Learn how to spell. I hope you spell right when you're. Sorry. I'm a terrible speller, so I shouldn't say.
Oh, all right.
But I think you're right. And the whole, the generation before will talk about all the innovative street games that kids would play.
Oh,
and,
sure.
And back then, even 70s, 80s, the fields were pretty rough even,
Yeah.
like the baseball fields
Oh,
and
yeah.
things like that.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be kind of part field, part dumping ground almost.
Well, Pershing Field was our big park. and we
Up
would
in
go-
Jersey
Up
City.
in Jersey City. And
Right.
if you recall, there was a ring around a track.
Right.
And, the 60s and the 70s, the tax base had shrunk so low that there's very little money for maintenance of parks. So Pershing Field was a playing field, and it had been used so much, there was no grass left at all. And by the time they did something with it, it was probably 6 feet lower in the middle.
From running.
From
Just,
running and all, so I mean you could go there and you could stand in the middle and you could hit fly balls
right.
out to the edge and it would just kind of roll back.
Okay,
toward
got
you.
it.
So
Sure.
it was like that.
It's funny though. That is one of my favorite parks now because most of it hasn't been upgraded. Like most of the other parks,
Yeah.
which they're trying to cram a lot of stuff into
Oh,
it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you can actually go there and relax.
Uh,
So it's kind of cool.
yeah.
And nice tennis courts too.
Oh, okay.
They fixed them up.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
cool. Did you live close to there then?
Just a few blocks
Oh,
away.
because you're in Webster.
Yeah, in
Right,
Webster.
Sure.
So that was
sure.
they put a skating rink in when we were in high school. So that was like, wow. It was
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. And I think it still exists, but it has some maintenance issues.
Oh, okay.
And then
That's
right
surprising.
next door is the reservoir.
That's right.
And
Which is now.
would you sneak in there, the reservoir?
No,
No.
there was no,
You
had
probably
to
didn't know
climb-
about it even.
Well, we knew it was there, but you had to climb a pretty high wall before
Right.
you got to the metal fence.
Yes.
Which was, so we never really,
Gotcha.
yeah, it was a lot of work to get in there. We weren't sure what,
Right.
it was
sure.
it was swampy.
Right.
And, but now it's just this
Well,
kind of
they
an amazing park. It will be an amazing park.
yeah,
you know.
it's good. They did open it.
Yeah.
And it's a new space.
Yeah.
We'll say
Yeah,
that.
which is welcome. And it's
Sure.
a lake. And
Yeah.
I'm told that there are fish in it too.
Yeah.
So-
There was a group that was doing would give you a fishing rod and you could
Oh,
go
that's
out.
true.
and-
Yeah.
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 I'm not sure what was caught, but
Now, I
it
wonder
was,
if that started off as a guerrilla group who would just break in and
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
not sure. I'm not
citizen
sure.
action often You got to break the law to start with. But then,
I am a firm believer in that. Yeah. Frank Hanovan.
Hey.
Oh, right. Frank is up on the ice rink.
oh man,
Right. And I hope Frank is skating. Frank, another one of the classic artists of Hudson County.
That's right.
That's
Who
right.
you'll often run into on the street.
That's right.
So he's providing the street life that's so missing for these
That's right.
suburbanites who don't know how to do it.
He loves entertaining people on the street with his paintings, so they can say, you know what you should paint? Anyway. Okay, so we got a few more photos in this group. There's Sheila, too, hanging out.
Here we are.
Wow.
I introduced her to all my friends.
Wow. Wow. And a lot of people might not make the effort to socialize.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Sure.
In that situation,
Oh,
they
sure.
just go, hey, different backgrounds, and
Right.
what do we got in common, and
They're kind
whatever.
Of, kind of barriers,
Right.
And some people were willing, other people, There's another photo. We'll see it. There's two sisters who were very attractive, and their boyfriends made it clear that, who are you? What are you doing?
Okay.
Why are you talking to my girl?
So you could have gotten into some problems.
Oh, sure.
There. Okay.
Sure. But I
So
mean,
hence a 6-pack of beer might have helped negotiate.
yeah, not with those
Right.
guys, but
Okay.
But I mean, they were nice. These girls were nice girls, and they were nice to me. And we didn't know each other well, but we see each other on the street. It was
Got
always
it.
friendly.
Sure.
So.
And describe, so Mighty Fine, you're there, you had a studio there?
Yeah.
And what was that environment like?
We were in the office building, which
Close to the corner there?
it was closer to
Newark?
it's funnily enough, it's Newark and Observer is kind
That's
of
right.
reversed there.
Right.
So
right.
between Newark and Observer Highway,
Got it.
and the office building was the first building on that block,
Sure.
and it's connected to the rest of it, of course.
Right.
And
But what's going on in the building? Who's the main
it
owner tenant?
was a wallpaper company.
Gotcha.
Albee Services was the landlord.
It wasn't Chambord at that
It
point.
was. It was.
It was.
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
pretty early.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think they've been in business quite a while.
Yeah, right. But even before Chambord, there was another company.
Okay.
Too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But and so the fumes from that wallpaper
God.
place, I don't think I've ever experienced worse fumes.
No, it's amazing that they were able to get away with this. I suppose there was a Clean Air Act in force at that time, but
Or they might have been grandfathered in. That's the only way I could
brother.
think of it. But
yeah, no, solvent-based inks, vinyl
or
inks.
I heard they did the wallpaper for the president, so maybe that got them
Oh.
some leverage. No.
That sounds like two lies
Right,
strapped in one.
Nixon
there,
wallpaper or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's amazing that it didn't burn down then.
Right.
So there are 50-gallon drums of flammable chemicals.
Right. And
solvents.
again, they're out by the time of the more recent fire, so
Yeah.
we don't want to confuse the
No.
two, from
No.
what I understand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could. You would drive by there in August, and if I think there's a light there, right around there. If you wanted to make that light, because if not, your tongue would start to swell, your eyes would burn,
Yeah.
and you'd look over, and at that time you had like auto car painting places,
Right.
and you just didn't really know where the smell was
Right.
coming
A
from.
variety of
It could have been a
sources.
lot of things,
Yeah.
but I
But
did
the
learn.
windows wide open with big fans.
Right. Would.
And
So here's Jenny again. Wow, amazing photos. Thanks so much. Would you have this online?
I don't.
No, we
I guess-
don't.
I guess
This
it-
is it.
I
It's
guess it is
online
now.
right now.
I guess it is now.
Yes, definitely. And we want to see you here, Jenny, on
Dave.
Sunday. And here's Dave. Must be on a same computer or another screen in the house. Those days are gone. E.g., we have 5,000. We had 5,000 square feet in Maxwell House, overlooking the Hudson, heat, hot water, and a parking space for $500.
Incredible.
And he's referencing Jenny Lee's studio,
Exactly.
which I think is one of the coolest art studios I ever saw anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe the Noguchi studio was nicer, but that was a hell of a studio.
Oh, yeah.
And she kept it like it was a kitchen, like spotless.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I'm like that too
So-
with the workspace. If you kind of need it neat,
Right.
otherwise it's all a distraction.
Right. But 5,000 square feet of neatness.
incredible.
Yeah,
With-
definitely.
I think cranes too. Is there a crane inside?
No, a crane. Oh, no.
Overhead.
Oh, I don't know. She
Yeah,
might have had
it's
something
possible.
to lift steel.
Yeah.
Yeah. thank goodness to Danny and George for
Yeah.
making that happen for
yeah.
a while.
And that lasted for some years.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
We had space there too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the home of the museum in one of our transitional states.
That's right. Yeah. I
And we
recall.
shared it with the Hoboken Brewing Company.
Oh,
So we got to taste.
okay.
Yeah, it was
That's
good. It was
Good
good.
neighbors.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
So another image,
Yeah, this is the Botanica that was on Washington Street between 11th and 12th.
right?
And this is the Botanica that's in my large drawing.
Oh, that's right. Sure.
Doesn't quite look like it, but
Right. And it's hard to, there it is,
Oh, there we
right?
go. Okay.
Yeah, nice segue there, Rand.
yeah.
And so this drawing is not in the show,
No.
but it's sort of the same time period.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
And so tell me about okay, so we just saw a photograph, and so was that photograph kind of what you worked from to make this drawing?
Huh?
And then you would add the people,
Yeah.
and right, and
Yeah. And they were often from photographs that were just, fell into my hands.
got it.
So
Got it.
But in Hoboken at the time, you could see guys wearing Guayabera shirts.
Oh yeah,
which,
definitely. The hat is classic.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's a little hard to find a Botanica shop
God.
in Hoboken. You're not going to find
No.
it. You have Bergen Line, maybe
probably.
Union City. You're going to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe Jersey City,
Yeah.
some streets. But I think we had two, at least two, if not three,
Mm-hmm.
and they were. They were pretty intense because, like, every saint and idol is in
Oh,
the
yeah.
window, and they're lit at night,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, they're kind of like made an interesting montage, all these characters together
sure
in the
did.
window.
Well, the Indian chief with the plains headdress.
Yes.
Next to the Virgin Mary, next to Saint Anthony, and
Yeah.
and everything in between. And there were, I'm sure Chango was in there someplace. Yemaya. When I moved to Hoboken, our apartment buildings were in the back, across the backyards. It was 7 buildings on Willow Avenue. It was kind of solidly Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
So people played music, a little bit loud, which was fine. I got a taste for salsa, and I still have it. I think it's just great music. It's
Sure.
really unique, and like hip hop, salsa really evolved into the salsa dura, the classic stuff in the Bronx.
Right.
So born in the Bronx.
And a lot of the Puerto Rican population may have started in the Bronx, and they come over to Hudson County.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the factory work and
Sure.
just a little more space. And Bronx is burning, as
Well,
they say.
exactly,
And so
and there-
Hoboken burns later, but they're
but
here.
not too much later.
Not that much. Yep.
In the Bronx, there was almost different reasons for these buildings burning. There in the Bronx, it was to collect insurance. Here, it was to empty buildings of people.
Right.
So if you had to kill him, that's what happened.
Right. Sure. Sure.
So it's just horrifying. But part of the reason that there was so much arson was because, if you recall, there was a ban on new sewer hookups in Hoboken, so they couldn't build anything new.
Right.
So the existing apartments were all there was.
Right. Right.
And, there were 500 fires. Well, and 56 deaths.
Right.
Boy, it's
Right.
just, and, the title of this show, it really was true. It's horrifying fires, 20 people killed in one, 11 people killed in another. And, you would hear fire engines at night, and, often you would smell smoke. You can smell smoke in Hoboken now, but it's somebody with a fireplace.
Right.
But that scent, and I like it, travels for blocks.
Sure.
So, but that was the background of this stuff, this horrifying crime wave going on when, we're here, these are my salad days. I was younger, and, all my friends too.
Salad days? I
Sure,
don't
the
know that.
Oh, salad days, these are the days before the main course.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you were
So-
like eating better and salad.
none of that.
Okay, I got it. Here's Bill Bayer, just to interrupt.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Tim, I admired your work forever. I photographed the Meadowlands in industrial Hudson County and totally relate to your
Yes,
work.
well,
So-
right back at you.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
aware of your work too.
So, photographer to painter.
Yeah.
So, but similar subject matter.
But,
Let's,
photography was something that I needed to be able to do. I often didn't have a camera, so I borrowed
Right.
a camera. But that was the where I would get started with paintings.
Right.
So, yeah, a lot of photography too. Not good. That's maybe why I became a painter, because my photographs were never exactly the way I wanted them to be. So,
And it's funny because, in a sense, photography is a lot easier and
in a way, yeah.
repeatability and all that. But your medium is acrylic
Yeah.
paint.
Yeah.
So that's
So,
kind of
yeah,
cool.
worked out.
So let's just see what we got going here. So this is a painting?
Yeah, this is a painting, and it's a terrible image. This is a scan from a 35 millimeter slide, but this is a pretty big painting.
Right.
And it's called Air Drums, and you can see the lad in the center there. He's playing air drums.
Okay, got it. So that's the viaduct in the background. So this
Exactly.
is 14th Street
Right.
looking west.
Right.
And 14th Street was very, I'll say Puerto Rican,
Oh yeah,
right?
for
Very
sure.
Hispanic.
For sure.
And-
All the stores and most of the apartments, I have to assume, and like I said before, those apartments, families lived there. So often the parents wanted the kids out of the house, or
Yeah, the street.
so
Go play in
there's-
traffic.
That's right. That's right. There's
And-
a couple of big piles of garbage there. I guess I didn't need to paint that too, but
Right. Well, we still have those.
that's true.
And this isn't too far from the site of the Pinter Hotel fire, the
Yes.
horrible fire, which was on, shall we say, the south side of the street,
Mm-hmm.
right by, I guess, Park and 14th Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And also an image that comes, a drawing that comes from the same time period.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, what's the title of this piece? Do you remember?
This one is 11 by Fire. And
11 by Fire.
There's an
So,
arson fire here, and 11 people
right,
died.
this is, sometimes you could use, the address on Washington Street
Right.
or on 12th Street.
That's how I saw it listed,
And this is the entrance on 12th.
Right.
And it's 12th and Washington.
Mm-hmm.
There are apartments above. And if you didn't know the title, it'd be like, oh, kind of cool architectural
Right.
elements from,
Right. Which is the reason I chose to draw this, because, the caryatids, that's a very interesting, very Victorian kind of thing. And,
Sure.
Yeah, detailed they are too. But almost every one of these, the noses got knocked off. I guess it was
Right.
the easiest thing to do. And, Napoleon's soldiers did the same goddamn thing. So, I don't know why. But it's just irresistible to some people, I suppose.
Okay. But again, they're kind of witnesses to this tragic event.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
On there. And Miss Terry, my father was the deputy fire chief in Hoboken during all those terrible fires. Wow.
Boy, he saw a lot of horrible things.
I'm forgetting who the deputy chief. So there are different levels in the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Miss Terry's last name?
Fitz.
Fitz. Oh,
Yeah,
Fitz.
yeah. Is it
It's a
Fitzsimmons?
Gibbons or a Simmons.
Okay, I'm not sure.
It's one of the Fitzes. We
Yes.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's Fitzsimmons.
Okay.
But Terry may correct us.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like about this, like, it's the time period where you had these sort of very elegant buildings in Hoboken, but they had been broken down into apartments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they probably always were apartments, but they might have been even smaller,
Yeah.
but they really weren't that well maintained.
no.
And so here you had this classic, doorway, but you still had that ring of a fluorescent light inside.
Yeah. They call that a landlord's halo.
Oh, really? Okay. So you could get into metaphor for a halo for
Wow.
people who didn't make it out of the building.
These connections are begging to be made.
That's
you know.
right. So that's everyone likes. I think that's one of the fun thing at looking at art is how does it speak to you and what connections do you make and so on. And a lot of people, if they don't read the title to this work, are just going to
Yeah,
go.
they wouldn't know.
Yeah, and
That's why-
so it's kind of subtle, but
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because you should be able to look at the work and does it speak to you, but then
Yeah.
the title can reinforce it.
Yeah, because if I had the appropriate title, I'd need to follow it by 5 exclamation points.
Right.
Just like
Right.
So it alludes to it. The way this big drawing, Many Innocents Gone, it alludes to it. It's not a screaming headline. And it's this this tragedy, this long ago tragedy,
Sure.
ongoing
Yep.
tragedy that thankfully has ended. But yeah, the Puerto Rican population in this town is probably 10% of what it used to be back in the day, as you know.
Much lower.
Yeah, I mean, people were poorer people in these apartments, and they were cheap apartments, sure, but a lot of people in apartments, often a lot of kids. They were kind of crowded, and often the people who lived there had some secrets. If you were collecting any kind of welfare, you could not have a male living in the apartment. So it broke up families. Dad couldn't stay there.
Right. Sure.
Or you'd have to be ready to go if the
Right.
if the city people showed up.
Sure.
So, but I mean, between that threat of dying in an arson fire, and just intimidation by the landlords and skullduggery, and there were buildings, the Willow Avenue buildings that I was across from. Our condo developer, who I'll talk about a little later, he owned the same buildings. And somehow he jacked these people out, one right after the other. And I think it was, intimidation, a threat of fires, and just making shit hard for people.
Right.
And they'd left,
Sure.
So they couldn't
Right.
sustain it anymore.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, that's tragic too. I mean, the other thing is a lot of people were, Cocoa Malt and the other big companies here, they did recruit people in Puerto Rico. They
Right.
wanted to import
Tootsie Roll.
low-wage
Yeah.
workers, and if they didn't speak English, that was fine too, because the supervisor didn't either.
Right.
So it's a way to keep people separate, and just kind of a
And then those
setup.
factories closed, and
Yeah.
a lot of people are unemployed and
Exactly.
hanging out, and you get the
Exactly.
whole perception
It's
thing.
like, oh, what did you do before this? Oh,
That's
I worked at Tootsie Rolls. Like,
That's right.
Next,
So who owns the original on this?
Oh, this is Tina and Bob Zoller, Tina DeVries and Bob Zoller, who lived not far from here.
Right.
They're
Sure.
in, I'm blanking on the name of the town.
And I remember this fire personally just because I lived around the corner and I had just moved to Hoboken.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're like the fall of '81. I had lived here during the period of the fires, and there's always one fire that is a little more in your mind, in your consciousness, because you smelled it, you lived by it.
Yeah.
And so for me, this is the fire.
This is the one, yeah.
And I drive by this every day on my way to the museum.
Uh-huh.
And I look at these two characters and say hi.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I was very excited because maybe a couple of years ago they were putting up a plaque on the side of the building. And I thought it'd be a plaque to honor, the people who died in the fire.
Yeah.
But no, it's more about this is, a noteworthy architecture, Victorian apartments,
Right. That
in
was
the
burned.
1880s. No, nothing.
Nothing about that.
Nothing about that.
That's a
Which
shame.
I'm naive to think that it would have been a plaque for that.
Well, it would
but
be appropriate.
It would be appropriate. So maybe
people
there'll
lost
be
their
another
lives here.
plaque on the other side. So this
Maybe.
this character has the one plaque. I want this
Okay.
person to have the other.
Might
So
maybe some citizen action there.
right, we could call up Ray Guzman and maybe he could order
That's
a plaque
right.
for us.
That's
So,
right. It doesn't have to
yeah.
be big.
No. Well, it should match the other one inside.
Okay.
It's got to be aesthetically
Oh, okay.
pleasing. Right.
Good point.
So, okay. There's a plan. Okay. Back to landscape.
Yes.
Back to landscape. And this is that classic Tim Daly view.
Kind of, yeah. This would be just off Route 1 and 9
Right.
in Jersey City. And
Right.
you can see, you can see the bridge towers, and you can see part of what was the Hudson Generating Station, which the actual thing was a little farther up. But that was a coal-fired plant that this was the kind of environmental hazard that
Right.
So I mean, they switched to natural gas at some point, but
Are we talking in Kearney, that big
No,
power
this is
plant on the river?
This
No.
is on the Hackensack River in Jersey City.
Oh, in Jersey
Yeah,
City.
just north of the
Okay,
bridges.
gotcha.
And so there were still, barges of coal that would pull up there.
Okay.
They had a big conveyor system, but it was, and it was funny because it developed over the years. They built more and more. Finally had three stacks. Some people called it Mutt and Jeff because it had a tall stack and a short stack.
Okay,
So that's a reference that nobody under the age of 70 is going to get.
right.
Either,
Sure, sure.
But so I was doing these paintings at the same time. I was kind of doing drawings too. Because Because one thing I do remember from a good painting instructor, was not my instructor, said, you want to do paintings, they take a long time. He said you should be drawing too. Little drawings go in notebooks. Big drawings go on the wall.
Okay.
He said, be bold and how did he say it? And don't get precious.
Okay.
Which is good advice. And I mean, these kind of reflect that. Some of the not the most carefully drawn things in the world, proportions can be off and the rest of it. But, it's like, I want to do this in a couple of days. So,
Okay.
and I didn't want to get precious.
Sure.
I thought that was good advice.
Right.
Because there's always the next one.
So I'm thinking of people who were around in Hudson County painting, maybe a generation earlier than you.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like Peter Homitsky.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he comes to mind.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he was a guy who was doing landscapes in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
And had a gallery and
Sure.
did okay.
Right. Right. And
He was-
were there others?
Nobody really springs to mind.
Right, right.
I didn't really meet that many, artists in Hoboken. I didn't really get around that much, but there wasn't that much going on. I mean,
But wasn't everyone hanging out at Maxwell's? Or
well, yeah. But they were younger, and my good friend Kevin Cronin is 10 or 15 years younger than me. He's this kind of art brute painter,
Okay.
So I didn't realize that we had this competition going on, but there was this unknown pissing contest, and until I finally bought him a beer and made him sit down and talk to me.
Okay.
He passed away a year ago in August, but yeah, he was a good painter.
And
He was
Peter has passed
fast.
too.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they moved out of Hoboken, and gone a few years now.
Gotcha.
So-
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving through. And we're a little closer to that bridge.
That's right. This is the Jersey City side of the Whitpan Bridge.
Okay.
So we're down below it.
Right.
And when I dropped out of art school, I had to get a job. So I wound up working at the post office in Kearney.
Oh, that
So
bulk mail place.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Or-
after I was at the I don't know what they called it, the Kearney facility, something.
Right.
But it was
That's like soprano country.
Oh my God,
The
Is
landscape.
it ever?
Oh, man.
So, but I didn't drive then. I didn't have a car then, so I was hitchhiking back and forth. And this was,
You'd have to hike across this bridge?
oh yeah, hitchhiking Jersey City.
Oh,
On Newark Avenue, there was a bar, Stars Long Bar, and it was open early in the morning.
Right.
So if it was a cold morning, meet a coworker there and a little cranberry, apple brandy in the morning.
Just to warm up for the
For
the hitch.
So,
And here's Jerry Fallow. Hi, Bob and Tim. Really
Hey.
enjoying the interview. Love the photographs, paintings, and drawings. Look forward to seeing you and the work on Sunday.
Great.
Yes,
Always a
bring
pleasure.
friends.
Yeah.
Bring friends. Another
sure.
museum trustee
for sure.
signing in. That's great.
So I was out there in the post office with a lot of young guys like me. The post office hired an enormous amount of people in a very short time. So
Right.
New Jersey City University, like they lost half their student body when these facilities opened up. Anyway, so talking to a couple of guys that I worked with, one was a photographer, the other was interested in painting, and he's, well, the one guy's a little older, the photographer. He said, what is your subject? What do you want to paint? It's like, those. I want to paint those and the bridges because they were
So hitchhiking inspired you to paint the bridges.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you were spending a lot of time looking for
That's right.
looking at them.
That's right. But they were
Wow.
just amazing things.
They
too.
are.
They really are. And
Do you
it's-
ever walk across them?
Back in the day, I did.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
gets harder
yeah.
and harder. There's no place to pull over.
No,
it's
that's
a
true.
You're in for a long walk.
Yeah, exactly. Tom
Hey,
Bergen,
Tom.
all right.
How you
I
doing,
love
man?
the contrails in this one. Hi,
Right
Tim
on.
and Bob. Really enjoying the discussion.
Me too.
Yeah, good. And I realize that we have known each other since early to mid 80s.
Oh, yeah.
But we probably have not had this type of conversation ever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of cool.
Well, it kind of takes this situation to make it possible. in a way,
Sometimes, yeah, yeah. We're always on the go, so
Oh, yeah.
on that.
For sure.
Miss Terry, okay, I was Fitzsimmons. Oh, phew. He was Deputy Chief Edward Fitzsimmons, but they no longer have the rank of deputy. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Ms. Terry, for explaining it.
Either
Yep.
way, it's a good Irish name.
Oh, yeah. It's a Fitz. It's a Fitz. I'm digressing a little, but one time I'm walking across one of these bridges, and it wasn't this one, and I hear this guy laughing at me, and I couldn't figure out where he was coming from. All of a sudden, the middle bridge went up like a big boat is coming underneath, because
Right.
that's what it does. It
Right.
raises just the center part. And it turned out, I guess it's like the bridge master was up above in this like little, room.
Oh, the control room.
The control
Sure.
room. And he was doing it just to, give me a hard
Oh,
time.
that's funny.
And he took me up, and I remember
Wow.
I had my camera bag on the other side of the crack in a sense, so I pulled that with me, and and then he put me down, but I didn't go all the way up,
Okay.
but it was like a shock,
Yeah,
because
Oh, bet.
this piece of steel, like, you don't think it's movable,
No.
and you want to hear some weird squeaks, that's whatever. It was intense.
I'll bet.
Jenny Lee, but seriously, Tim is able to surface environmental urgencies in beautiful and strict and starkly contradictory ways. Wow. I think
man.
we should have had Jenny interview you.
Yeah, that's
So,
okay.
but you
Well,
would-
you know what? It comes naturally.
It's
Okay,
true.
okay.
But would you, I see. Would you interview Jenny if she agreed?
You know what? I don't think I'm equipped.
Oh, come on. Come on.
You're very good
Okay.
at this, Bob. I
No,
have to
no,
say.
no, no. It's fun though. So
Good.
That
wouldn't be fun for
I'm not
me.
going to quit my day job. So
Okay.
I'm there. So we have Tom Vazzetti.
There he is.
Rand's trying to move us along. He's
Okay.
afraid my stories will
Yeah.
digress a little too much. Tell me about Tom Vazzetti.
Tom Vazzetti. The first night that Sheila and I spent together on her place on Washington Street, and it was the morning, and it was kind of early in the morning, and we hear, "Citizens of Hoboken, you won't believe the shenanigans that they're... Hi, handsome." He had seen somebody on the street, but we both recognized the voice. Said, "Oh my God, it's Tom Vazzetti." So,
But for all the people who never met him,
yeah,
never heard of him, tell us more.
he was a councilman in Hoboken for a couple of three terms, and a bullhorn because he was not like any of the other politicians in Hoboken they were real old school. There was a real sense of corruption about the whole thing, and yeah, it was true. It was crooked. Jersey City was just as crooked. It was just awful. Anyway, Tom was a different sort, and the fires were raging for years, and he ran for mayor, and people believed that he could really bring about a change. Because it was obvious that Cappiello couldn't care less. There's mass murder going on. It's like, well, these poor people, and blah, blah. But no, he was, it's stark contrast, a really good, well-meaning guy who, he knew his stuff too. He did study history. The rest of the council people, I'm not sure they ever got out of high school, They were not scholars, let me put it that way. But Tom was one in a million.
Darwin Wheatstraw, great image. This should be hanging in City Hall.
Well, I'm gonna try to make that happen. We'll see. I need to kind of conform with the other mayoral portraits that are there.
Right.
They're all the same size.
Sure.
So
Do you remember there was a mayoral portrait of Tom Vazzetti?
I do, yeah. By
And
June
do you
Ponte.
Do you remember what happened to
Yeah.
it?
It was vandalized and it was destroyed and thrown out. And
Right.
he laughed about it.
Right. Remember, there's always been great characters. There was a guy named BB. Do you remember him?
Oh, him.
He's the one who slashed the
he did?
painting.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know if he's still with us, but
Well,
he attacked it.
he was always an asshole. Oh my God. Just a hateful son of a bitch. And he was always at city council meetings,
That's right.
He's this troll who would show up. But the idea, I didn't know it was him.
It was him, and this is the best part. He did not live in Hoboken. He lived in Weehawken.
Oh my God. Wow. So this is a favorite place to cause trouble. Okay, that's him in a nutshell.
Yeah,
What a jerk.
definitely. Yep, yep.
But you could spot him as a jerk right away. It didn't take more than a minute to be around him. Hunter.
David
oh, yeah.
Way, Hunter.
Yeah.
So Tim printed T-shirts for the residents bearing the name. Everyone is a member of the Hunter. Okay.
Somebody accused Laurie Fabiano, who was his Tom's kind of second, of there being a junta.
Okay.
sick. Okay.
Well, and I think she had a restraining order against BB because he would just like spit and harass.
really?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
good.
I shouldn't speak for Lori, but that's the
Yeah.
way
No,
I
I'm not
remember it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That's what it would take.
Yeah,
You know?
no, definitely. Ray Guzman, Tommy used to say to my 2-year-old son, "You're doing a great job raising your parents." I have heard lots of Tom Vazzetti isms.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a new one and one of the better ones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay.
So-
We obviously we're talking about this year doing some sort of remembrance of Tom Vazzetti because we're coming up on a 40th anniversary.
Oh, yeah, probably
and
so.
Rand is organizing that with
Oh, all right.
Joe and Lori
Oh, good.
and Mark
Okay.
Singleton.
Okay,
So
well, I'd love
you
to-
may want to participate in some way.
Oh, I'd love
because you
to,
were very
you know.
involved.
And the
So-
idea, this is a drawing, and then it got damaged by a flood. Part of it is just, ran
Sure.
down. So, but with digital printing these days, I have photos. We can take photos of this, and we can print something that's the right size
Got it.
too to
Got
fit
it.
in it. So I got to talk to somebody at City Hall. Well, I guess the mayor about
Might be a new one by then. Right.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Although I thought this is for life, running against no opponents.
No,
Yeah,
as I
opposed to-
understand, Mayor Ravi Bala is not running again.
Oh,
Yeah. So.
okay. Oh
So
God.
that means a new mayor.
Yeah.
So should get interesting.
Boy, I guess I better start paying attention.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're sleeping on this
Yeah.
one. Where you been? And we should say Tom died unexpectedly, tragically,
Yeah.
in the middle of his term,
Right.
pretty much.
Right.
So
It was an election day, and Helen Minogue, who's my neighbor and part of our tennis association, 1106, 1112 Park, she had run for council, and she was defeated by 2 votes.
Norman Wilson.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, against
And-
Norman Wilson.
And that was the night Tom had a heart attack.
Yeah, because he vowed, and it just seemed crooked. It was so,
Well,
But I
but
mean,
it,
close.
it
close
was the
elections
end of
happen.
Tom, though.
It
you know.
was.
Yeah,
that
which
was
is very
that was it.
sad.
Yeah.
And things really fell apart,
Oh, they
obviously.
did. Well, Patty
So-
Pasculi, and I'll mention his name because he's still a jerk. He ran with Tom, was elected with Tom, and the minute that Tom was dead, he stepped all over his grave.
Right.
He became mayor. Really forgettable, really forgettable. And they did away with him pretty fast after that too. I think it was a 1-term mayor, but little loyalty would have been a good thing. But he
Right.
didn't have it.
Right,
So-
and if anyone is interested in this time period, if they didn't witness it, probably the best education is watching Delivered Vacant, the film by Nora Jacobson,
Could
which you
well be.
are featured in.
Yeah.
You and Sheila.
Very much so,
And does take us through that time period.
It does.
And we do have it here in the museum. One can sit and watch it. It's
Oh,
a
great.
full-length
Great. Well, we need to
documentary.
We need it in a theater because we need to have company when we watch this. So we
This
can-
is true.
Yeah.
Well,
His-
we have it on a couch so 4 people can watch
Oh, all right.
in
Well,
the
good to know.
Sinatra Lounge.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
definitely.
make an appointment.
Okay, there you go.
So that was the campaign poster I did for Tom.
Right.
We as soon as we knew he was running for mayor. So I printed, Hoboken's a small town. I wound up printing all of his campaign posters. I screen printed them in my studio.
Yeah, you've had a pretty good screen printing business. You
Yeah.
did a lot of posters for a lot
Oh, yeah.
artists exhibits. You did for the museum.
Yeah.
And
And when Tom Newman ran too.
that's
he
right.
Did his posters.
So you got to smell the same inks as
That's right.
in Chambord.
No, I avoided that
You
stuff.
did, you did. And always a pleasure was his favorite expression.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the one from Ray was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Anyway. And so moving along here. So this is really the first image we've seen that is in the exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from, so when were these done again?
I was doing these, and there's a lot more than this, all through, late 70s, early 80s.
So the fires
and into
are
the 80s.
happening while you're doing these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't
So-
like, the fire, they're so dramatic. To get head on, that's the business of a news photographer or a,
Right.
a photojournalist.
Bill Bayer
which I'm
from
not.
the Dispatch.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Which I'm not. But I mean, this kind of refers to it in maybe an oblique way. But this guy carrying an unconscious girl, it symbolizes for me the desperation that some people experienced in these insane situations.
Right.
And
And
people injured people and this insanity of your building going up in smoke. you
Right.
know?
And so we see the Botanica store in the background,
Mm-hmm.
but did you witness this event, or is it
No.
it's in your head
Yeah.
and, you
Yeah.
know, you felt it emotionally?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's I stumbled on these figures. These are two brothers who are wrestling on the street.
Right.
I can see this is an early photo. Anyway, but yeah, I stumbled on these figures and put it together because it kind of just right. So
I really like
especially
the
there.
shading from the trees
Oh,
and
yeah.
that type of night light and, kind of noir-ish.
It is,
And
yeah.
so,
And back then too.
Right,
I
and
think
the-
there were less street lamps then.
uh,
Dave
yeah.
Roberts added all these little street lights back in the day.
Yeah, everyone has their streetlight aesthetic, and we probably have more trees now, and
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
exactly,
So,
yeah.
anyway, cool. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
And this is most of the images in the exhibit are, shall we say, dark in terms of black and white, or some color in of some. But this one is actually really dark in the foreground,
Yeah.
and then sort of brightens up.
Yeah.
And is a little different from the other. But you tell us what's going on in this photo, in this painting.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Sorry.
People often do that. Which,
Okay.
It's fine.
Right.
We're on the roof of 711 Willow Avenue, where a bunch of my friends had different apartments there, so we were often up there. The boombox kind of dates this. This is early 80s.
All those batteries.
Oh my God, yeah. And what's playing is Sandinista, record by The Clash, which I think came out in '79. But it was one of my favorites. And that's my friend Kevin Streeter. And there we are. It's like anybody goes up on the roof in Hoboken, this is like the yearning for, bright lights, big city, but maybe not either,
Sure,
It's
sure.
what there is, but it says that to me, you're gazing out, you're on the young side, it's like the future is ahead of you, and and here we are. And,
So close yet so far, and
Yeah, sure.
the roofs have always been this sort of secret space because you can get up through the trap door in
That's
a
right.
sense,
That's
and
right.
that's how you can get ripped off pretty easy because people can come in that way.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's really fun to see even pictures going back to 1890s, 1900s. People often, because there many places didn't have a yard, the two places where we see most of the photographs are like Columbus Park and the roofs. The roofs are kind of this like studio wall or
Yeah.
floor,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of this.
And every landlord has said, stay off the roof!
Of course, you're going to get fined,
Right. But then so many people had pigeons then too.
That's right.
That, it was one and only place you could have a pigeon coop.
That is so, you need a roof for a pigeon coop,
yeah.
which I don't think we have any anymore.
No,
So,
it's a shame.
And everyone, any landlord's going to be worried about the roof. But of course, as a youngster, you're not thinking about the landlord's
hell
roof.
no.
Hey, man, we know how to get there.
That's
and
right.
He doesn't live here, so what's
That's
the
right.
point?
That's right.
It's so funny. I should say, when I saw this with the other drawings that do reflect the fires, I thought this guy was watching a fire in progress,
okay.
where the bright glow is on that
okay,
building,
on the
those two
right-hand
windows
side.
on the right-hand side.
not just the
So,
streetlight,
so I went down the rabbit hole on that one.
Okay.
But it's kind of interesting.
Well, I guess, some people did see that
Right.
fire
But
bursting through the
is
roof.
this one of your few paintings looking east?
No, really, I've done quite a few, but they're
Okay.
usually, afternoon, evening is
Right.
the time when most of my I'm doing my paintings.
Sure,
not
getting that
interested in strong
afterglow.
shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
And just think how much that skyline has changed.
oh my God. Yeah, just driving in from Route 3, I'm like, where's Manhattan? I don't recognize this.
Where's the Chrysler building?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see it.
And the new buildings, the ones that you really see, these extremely narrow skyscrapers.
Right,
Russian oligarchs own these, and half of them are empty most of the time.
right.
It's like it's just it's a real symbol of the decadence and just a wash in money, New York
Right.
real estate. you
So
know,
it's
which
funny.
spills over here
Right.
and did then too.
Right.
You know.
I hadn't really thought of it that way. Kid to Brando, a pigeon for a pigeon. Okay.
That's right. He's a mean kid to kill those pigeons. though.
That's right. A pigeon for a pigeon. Or as Johnny Friendly said, I'll be back. So anyway, but what bothers me about that skyline is I don't know. You can't tell what's the name of a building. All their addresses are like 250 or
Yeah.
like an address.
Yeah.
But
you know what? They don't want you to know.
I don't.
Okay. They want you to look on it with jealousy. you know.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just see it as annoying. Like people
Yeah.
say, "What's the name of that building?"
who knows?
I know two. I know 4 buildings.
Yeah.
That's
call
about it.
Call it Russia.
Yeah. Okay. So I almost remember that was the last image, that we're kind of showing for the interview.
Oh, okay.
So we're winding down and we're pretty much on schedule.
Okay.
And here we are promoting not this show, but another
Right.
show.
Right.
And
Happening right now.
Okay. And it looks like it's got another less than a week.
Oh, less than a week, yeah,
Less
just
than
a
a
few-
week.
few days.
And it's different work.
Yeah.
And this is more Meadowlands. This is more Bill Bear country.
Yeah.
And Tim Daly country. And do you remember which
I can
part?
share.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of real estate out there. What park is this in? Do you know?
Well, actually, it's on the edge of Route 7.
Okay.
So you're looking north. You're looking towards, I guess it's Secaucus up there. No. Yeah. Yeah. And the stadium and all the rest of it. That's what those.
The American
that
Dream.
bright glow.
The American Dream.
Man. Oh, man.
I really encourage people to visit the parks
Yeah.
in Hudson County, Delacorte Park and the Meadowlands Park. They're just amazing
Yeah.
vistas. And I don't think enough people know they're there.
Yeah.
I go, you probably go. You don't see too many people walking around.
Not really.
Few
Which is
people
why
with
you want it.
binoculars. True. Yeah. It's sort of like there's a good restaurant. You don't want to tell people. 'cause
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know if I want to see them there.
That's right.
But anyway, and it's interesting the light on this one. Like it's almost like you had a flash, in the foreground.
Well, it's, street
So,
lights.
yeah,
So,
so on
it's a
there.
little, this is probably a little high contrast.
Right.
But,
And UFO country, right? Maybe.
that's what they say.
Yeah, sure. Okay,
yeah.
so we really are wrapping it up here.
Okay.
And this, again, is the card that
Yes.
sort of features the new exhibit. Do we have it? I'm holding up a official Tim Daly mug in my hand. Here it is, which features a close-up of one of the drawings. Sorry, I'm
This
a
had
little
this guy-
challenge
"Que
here.
paso?"
There it is. What's he saying?
Que paso?
Okay, good. And so, we really hope you come on Sunday. Ray Guzman will be here.
Terrific.
And he commutes now, so he's...
Oh, that's right.
There's a commitment there.
That's right.
David White just signed on quickly. He'll be here.
Cool.
Actually, he was here in the studio, but we kicked him out. Okay. But he got on, so we like that.
Yeah.
And the show is up until March 9th, but it opens this Sunday. We're also opening up our main floor gallery, so we expect a great attendance, 2 to 5. It's an open house. Come anytime. All are welcome. If people want to renew their membership or join or renew their lifetime membership, it's a good time. Ray Guzman, better than Netflix.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, that's true. That's true. We don't track you either. And let's see, we really want to thank Tim for spending some time over this
thanks to you, Bob.
evening.
This is
we
great.
we had a great time. We could go for another hour.
No doubt.
But Rand wants to go home. So
And I would need a beer. if
you
we're
would
gonna
need
go
a beer. I have a beer. Yeah. I've been drinking cold brew.
Okay.
And we want to thank our great Hudson County Office of Cultural and Heritage Affairs.
Absolutely.
They support us with these exhibits and great people there. We also want to thank our big supporters, Shipyard Circle. These are people who give at a certain level, and they help float the boat here.
I know so many of these names.
Yeah,
Good
they're
citizens.
They probably own some of your artwork. And
Let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope, or they can. And then our main floor exhibit is called the Hoboken Meadows. This is going to be a pretty interesting exhibit because
yeah.
people don't really know these images and they've maybe heard of it, but what's it all about? And the show was researched and curated by Holly Metz, and she always does a great job. And Ray Guzman saying thank you, Bob and Rand. Thank you, Ray. And again, this will be a double opening, and it's not often that we have two such strong shows opening together. And then mentioning Hoboken Talks has returned tonight with a great talk with Tim here. And we've been on hiatus, so we have some really good ones coming up. We have Dr. Edwin DeRoy coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. And then after that, it'll be Jeff Tamarkan with Todd Abramson,
Okay.
music people. So things are alive and well. I want to thank Rand Hoppe for engineering this show. And again, YouTube is our main, shall we say, platform along with Facebook, and hope you subscribe. And it gives us a little more prominence. And all these shows are archives, so you can watch them. Just put in the name of who we're interviewing. We must have over, I don't know, how many shows do we have, Rand?
Oh my God, hundreds.
Like
Wow.
100.
Wow.
Yeah, not all as good as this, and we've gotten better, technically, and we've gotten more comfortable. So we're creating a little YouTube online legacy with
Yeah.
these interviews. So maybe we'll watch this again in 40 years.
Yeah, why not?
Well, maybe not. Anyway, not me.
Let's see.
So anyway, thank you. I think we're signing off.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Let's do
My
a big
pleasure.
shake here. This was great.
Right
this is
on.
good.
You're so right.
Okay, signing out. Thank you very